on our behalf with this flood insurance. My personal experience is we've been getting lots, you mentioned before, Louisiana and then Florida's now finally. We've gotten a lot of calls from state officials in Louisiana about this. There's been protests in different states about this. I mean, our local government here in St. Pete Beach, I've seen 2 articles in the Times about how we can have golf carts now. I mean,
Yeah, right.
seriously, I mean, and when you're with these folks, my personal experience is I don't feel like I've been represented well at all. Anybody else?
Yeah, you're right.
I know there was a video. Rick Scott has just put out something with petition based, and he's going to Obama. My husband sent it to me yesterday, and I kind of went, oh no, politics, it just is, it made me really skeptical. But if we are doing a petition, even if it only procrastinates, what's everybody's thoughts on that?
Well, so we do, just so you know, we do have, the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber of Commerce has a petition online that you can go online and sign for that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Robin there has done
She has
unbelievable
job. She's been in DC.
Okay, what about our elected officials?
We have letters available that we can send you to send to your elected officials. If you'd like, I will resend those. For those of you who if you're not on my email blast, come to me after the meeting and I'll add you right here. I have letters.
Is anybody reading those letters? And my question, the reason, I have a good reason to ask, because what about, we're saying that the FEMA statistics that are being reported aren't really accurate. Can we take the statistics that we know are accurate from you and put them in our letters?
Well, the question, so just beyond that, the question comes down to, do they really read our letter?
That's what I'm
Okay, so they're gonna look at the letter and say,
They didn't read the bill.
Put it in this pile, put it in that pile.
Right.
We sent a letter, we got a canned letter back, that's
Yeah.
good. We called them on their leave a message. You can't leave a message because the mailbox is
On
full.
half of the list
Go
of
figure.
representatives' phone numbers, I don't know if you guys have tried this, but
Yeah.
over half of the list, it says message box is full, cannot leave a
Yeah.
message. I mean, how
So-
frustrating is that?
So the things that we can really do are encourage you to be persistent, and we can give you those letters to help you send those out. So those are things that we do. And then also, again, if you haven't signed the petition through the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber of Commerce website, you can go there, and she has great information on that website.
What I am going to do, just yesterday, I saw my first draft of the map that looks like this, but for businesses. Now that I'm armed with that, because the businesses are largely concentrated in areas that are our tourism areas, right? Plus in St. Petersburg along that 4th Street corridor, there's a lot more affected. I intend to combine the statistics from this map with the business ones. The only thing that won't be included is condos, because frankly, I don't know what to say about them. And I will send that to our congressional delegation, Senator Rubio and Senator Nelson.
Well, we know your letters don't get read.
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean,
So we
honestly,
appreciate
I would not necessarily, you would be amazed at some of the form letter responses I get just like you. I'm just a little local dog catcher here. They don't really, I'm not, it's nice of you to think that, but I'm not sure you're right.
You're the dog catcher with the Rottweiler.
You asked the question about politics. When this was passed in 2012, the vote was 99-1. And the only senator who voted against the bill to raise it was Rubio.
And that was because of the cost, it had nothing to do about what it would do.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's
Well,
99-1.
We're kind of getting on elected officials, so at the risk of saying, there's something I need to say here, and I say this with no malignant intent, and I say this without, we're partners in a lot of things. But when that bill passed, NAR was celebrating. I'm sorry, you need to look at your own house too.
Yeah, you're darn right.
NAR said it was a big win.
Yeah, it was a big win, and I would say last week, I participated in that press conference at PRO, and I haven't brought this up in public, and it's grinding on me, but I have to tell you, there was one newscast when it ended. There was a lady that it ended with her quoting, and she was a realtor, and her quote was, "Where were all these people when this got passed?" And if I had been standing there when she said it, and I'm sorry, I know you can see the passion coming up in me right now, my answer to her would have been, we were standing right next to the guys from NAR.
Okay.
Okay, now I wasn't, I'm a local government official. Our congressional delegation did vote for it, and you're right, Senator Rubio didn't pass it. But initial recognition of this problem, Senator Rubio really wasn't jumping real fast to do anything about it either, but none of them have been. And I don't have a political, I'm a Republican, but I'm your property appraiser, and I appraise everybody's house. They don't have to be a member of any party. This shouldn't be about politics. There shouldn't be trading, we shouldn't be trading votes for flood insurance, or votes for Obamacare, or votes for shooting missiles at Syria. This is a problem that affects our real estate market, but the whole East Coast is going to get crushed by this, just as the economy's turning around. And so I encourage you to keep up the pressure on all of our delegation, regardless of party. But honestly, I know I'm just a local official, and so I tend to stick up for local officials. If you were surprised by this, so were they. Congress doesn't send a letter to your local boards to say, gee, is this okay with you guys? So, in fairness, we all need to look in the mirror, because
Nobody
the
knew
real
about
estate-
this, though. Nobody really knew.
well, NAR knew about it. They thought it was a great deal. It was a big
Regardless,
win.
it's killing the market, it's hurting our livelihoods, people
That's
can't
right,
move,
yeah.
and people can't sell.
But-
People, everybody in here keeps talking about Pinellas County. The one thing that the news media is not covering, this is a nationwide. I don't care if you're in Oklahoma, I don't care if you're in Montana, I don't care if you're in North Dakota. One of the articles I read was one of the big leaders on this, to get rid of it, was from North Dakota.
Yes, she is.
So we need to get our news media to start blasting this out and telling them it's a nationwide problem, not a Pinellas County, Florida problem.
But we
And
just happen to be
but
surrounded.
other media outlets are covering it as a nationwide problem. But when you earn your livelihood
That's right.
in the county that's most affected, I thought the most effective way to blast this out there was to focus on our county. First of all, because I don't know what the statistics are in all the other counties, but Hillsborough County came right on board. Bob Enriquez and I are kind of working this together. He came out with the same statistics because we're Tampa Bay, and we're going to keep trying to put information out there to keep this in the news. But you're right, it is a nationwide problem. But where there was just a humongous amount of flooding in Colorado,
Yeah,
that's not even in a flood zone.
right.
Yeah.
How many of
So-
those people had flood insurance?
But they will be.
All right, so do we have any more specific questions for Pam?
And it doesn't have to be, it can be about values and junk that we do in the office, or exemptions or anything else.
Okay, a general one about values. It's hard to explain sometimes to homeowners why, if prices are going up and their values aren't necessarily going up on the tax record, but their taxes are going up. Is there an easy answer to that?
Sure, taxes are a function of a millage rate times the value.
Right.
And when millage rates get raised, your taxes can go up even when your value goes down or stays the same. Or, as happened this year to most people, their taxable value went up in the vicinity of 1.7% because that was the Save Our Homes cap percentage, on top of some millage increases that affected county-wide folks. The county general fund rate increased, so that affects everybody. Although the school board rate went down, and that affects everybody.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, people saw an increase in their taxes, but values for the most, I was part of that this year. Values did go up. But taxes are, the value's only one half. It's the rate times taxable value equals taxes. So they work together, and sometimes you can blame me, and sometimes, but when you blame me, I turn around and blame you because you're the real estate market and you're very successful.
Yeah, in Seminole, you mentioned a $71,000 insurance quote in New Roxby,
Yeah.
and today a $43,000 quote in Madeira. What brings such quotes to fruition?
The really super high quotes are in the zones that are the V's, the velocity zones. The zones that start with V are areas that are affected not only by rising water, but by the destruction done by the speed of water. The Gulf front properties are V's. The guy I was talking about today he's kind of along the intercoastal or bays somewhere in Seminole, and he's a V zone. What I don't understand about his insurance quote though, and I've got to call into Wright Flood to try to understand it, and you need to be cognizant of this was a $600,000+ property. And his quote used to be $4,300, okay? The $250,000 maximum coverage that he can get from the National Flood Insurance Program went up to $15,000. The rest of his increase was for $190,000 additional coverage from the open market. It's called forced place coverage because you have to cover the whole mortgage amount. So I'm trying to understand how $250,000 of coverage goes to $15,000, but the private sector insurance goes up to, I mean, the original quote was $49,000 on just that part, then they took some discounts off of it, and the total thing ended up being $43,000. Well, if the private market was already at full risk rates and only the NFIP wasn't, I mean, I don't really understand what's happened to this guy, and I have both of his quotes now, and I intend to present that to Wright Flood so that I can further my education to answer questions, but.
Can I interject on that for a minute too?
Sure, please.
There is a state statute that prohibits lenders from covering the amount of the loan value. A state statute in Florida. I don't know about other states. That means if someone's buying a little 1,000 square foot 1950s house on Gulf Boulevard that they're paying $600,000 for because it's the land value, the lender can't come and say, oh, we need to cover that house for $600,000 to cover the loan. No, we only need to rebuild the house.
And this insurance quote was
Just
for
so
the,
y'all know that,
yeah.
it's just replacement.
And this insurance quote was for the replacement cost new of the house, and it was pretty doggone close to what we had on the tax roll as replacement cost new. So it wasn't a matter of them overstating what it would cost to rebuild the house, but, you know, I hear all these people talking about, let's go to the private market. Under the heading of for what it's worth, I'm not in a flood zone. We want to have flood insurance anyway, and I pay NFIP about $400 for my house. We went to the private market to see what it would have cost, and the quote that came back to us was from Lloyd's of London for $2,800. So, you know, I don't know what we're expecting the private markets, how we're expecting it to be our solution.
Well, if I could interject on that too, some lenders, let's say to rebuild a house at $600,000,